Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my live chats. It's a Tuesday and it's my birthday. Anyway, welcome everyone. And if you clicked on the video, you probably saw the title. Today, I wanted to talk about, or rather, give advice to freshmen in varsity and how they can actually adapt to the varsity life without feeling pressure to change themselves. I'm going to share a bit of my testimony and how, some of the things that I actually look back on and wish I'd done differently, and some of the things that I did right as well. So, thank you so much for coming back to this YouTube channel. I hope that you guys will like the video, and if you do, then yeah, man. So, why did I choose to speak about this today? I just had this urge, right, to share some of the things that I actually went through in varsity, some of the bloopers, some of the things that I wish I'd done differently, some of the things that, you know, when I look back, uh, I could have done better as well. And just, sharing my own life's experiences, hoping that it'll help someone out there. So, first things first, I just want to talk a bit about the difference in the way that you'll be studying and learning things and internalizing things, like the change between you being in high school and actually transitioning to going to varsity is a big change. It was actually like a very drastic change for me personally. Um, Knowing that our school systems here in South Africa are not the best, and also just looking at how sometimes people are allowed to pass at a rate of 30%, which is the lowest considering how you then transition to varsity and their learning system is completely different and it is completely taxing. So, okay, guys, when you're like in matric and you're studying for your matric, there is a transition from starting from grade 11 to going to grade 12. There's that big transition of now learning to take big loads of work, learning to internalize big amounts of work and homework, and internalizing all this information and trying to find a routine of studying that will actually work for you. Uh, I know that there are many terms that are coined to like studying routines. There's like the night owl, the day, whatever. You can actually look it up for yourself. Uh, I think I'm just gonna simplify it. Okay, well, when I was in high school, right, it was pretty easy for me to internalize things now that I look back to like the varsity lifestyle and the whole big change in learning and learning styles, and actually the big change in system, really. I would say that I was more like a night owl kind of person. I prefer to study at night mostly. And in high school, you have groups, you have, teachers that are making you take extra, lessons after school. That really helps. Um, but when you get to varsity, you don't have all of that. Like you are on your own, like literally on your own. And when I got to varsity, I remember it was a very different environment. There were a lot of people and bigger buildings. And it was very scary for me. Like that transition was really, like, really scary for me. And I think also, like, looking back, I think also my self-esteem played a role into that. And I'll get into it like a little bit later on. But the system is really different. You are getting there from a black school mostly because um multiracial schools, I think, have an advantage because they have things like orientation. They get used to that when they get to like grade 8 up to matric. So it's not like a new thing for them. It's like actually into nje abayijwayele yabo into enjalo. So when I get to varsity, I had to attend these classes on how to use a computer. I knew how to use a computer, right? Like the little things, the basic things, like learning how to use a computer. A computer now is your best friend because you're no longer going to write in an exercise book anymore. You're completely going to write on a computer, everything. Like you can keep notes, obviously, but work is supposed to be typed out. So you're learning about, um, you know, what's the term? My God, my brain. You need to actually reference. That was a whole new dilemma for me, which took me a while. I think most of my varsity life, I had to like learn and remind myself every time what actually referencing was, because there's different types of referencing. And that was a whole new world for me because you never taught in high school on the referencing dilemma and the whole notion of it and what it actually is about. And when you get to varsity, now you need to actually adapt to like learning about referencing and just internalizing information within days. Unlike when you're in high school, you are given an opportunity to relearn and learn and fail. Not that I'm saying in varsity you're not allowed to fail, but it's actually more risky for you to fail because, of course, there's like at the back of your mind, you're just thinking about the amounts of money that are being paid and put into whatever course you actually, chose. And I think I'm actually going to talk a bit also about you knowing exactly what you want to do when you get to varsity, right? And of course, you're given the opportunity to change if you're not too sure about the course that you've actually chosen. But I think that will save you a lot of trouble and a lot of time and a lot of money if you actually go to varsity and you actually know what you want to do and you actually have an idea and you've actually broken it down to your personality, to like the person that you are and the person that you see yourself in the future as. And I think also that's like one big factor that I had took law and I struggled. Like it was not me at all. It wasn't about me, like the workload on its own. I don't think it had anything to do with law necessarily, as assets a person can have, looking at, everything else that's going on in the world. But when I got to varsity, I took law. That was actually the faculty that I got accepted in. Amongst other things that I'd actually applied for, some of them were closed and some of them were actually full by the time that I got accepted. So law was the faculty that I was the only school that accepted me. And it was good and dandy. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm into law. This is exciting. My mom was like, oh, yay, we're going to have a lawyer. And I was like, yay, I'm going to study law. And this is really awesome. But when it came to like the practical parts of it, and like being in class and actually internalizing what was happening and um it was overwhelming for me. I don't want to lie, it was really overwhelming. And that's when it hit me that I'm not a lawyer at all. And I thank God that I actually got the opportunity to change once I was in varsity, and that actually went smoothly. Like the transition actually went smoothly. But I wasted like six. Just take time when you are in high school to actually look at these things and get the help that is needed. If you don't have resources like money and you're not privileged like I wasn't, to actually get like a life coach or something, or a life coach or something, like to actually look at the personality that you have, the types of, dreams that you have, and actually break it down to one a career that will actually suit you. I think that's like one of the biggest things. So I changed and I did like a BA in psychology. That was my major in drama, which is really nice. Um, so now the biggest part of it is actually the lifestyle and varsity, because you don't have the same friends, you don't have the same kind of environments that you're used to. You're probably millions and not millions, probably millions, it could be like thousands of miles away from home. And it's like a whole new different, like, just atmosphere, right? So I think that it is very imperative for you to um, find yourself earlier, and mostly when it comes to developing your self esteem, mostly, and really just working on yourself internally during your varsity life, because it's not just about academics, it's also about your mental health, your physical health, and of course, the spiritual health, which is a priority. I think I neglected that. I know that I was a church goer, but I never actually had a relationship with God at the time. And there's a lot of things that I've gone to that I'm not so proud of. Mostly, I used to escape a lot from the workload through watching a lot of movies. I guess it was just an escape mechanism for me. And I knew that I had a lot of work to do, but I just would not get around to doing it. I passed, of course, but I feel like I could have done a way better if I'd actually gone for things like therapy, from the point go, because you're offered these things, and every faculty has those things, and that are offered for every student, because according to every faculty, it is a lot, and also just looking at our educational system, I don't think it's actually equipping us. It's there because it's like going from like like a maybe a 50% kind of internalizing of information to like a full-blown 100%. You need to internalize everything, you need to memorize everything. And I really think that just going for things like therapy, finding groups, or maybe tutors, those sort of, resources that are offered to you as a student according to your faculty, finding tutors to whatever modules you find that you're struggling in would really help you. And also finding a society like a church group, a healthy kind of environment that will also just, you know, work as a group of people that will encourage you, and maybe just finding a workout routine in between, maybe, but trying the best that you can to live as healthy as possible. uh I think also from, you know just transitioning from a lot of trauma that I had suffered prior to me being, in the home that I grew up in. Once I was in varsity, guys, it was a lot of freedom for me, a lot of transitioning from, um I don't know, just the usual that I was used to, and I really didn't know how to transition in a healthy way, like find healthy habits that would keep me going, which is why most of the time I ended up smoking a lot of weed. I smoked a lot of weed, like a lot. I'm actually really grateful to this one friend who helped me throughout varsity, even though we stayed in this one res. I'm not gonna name names, but she will know herself when she watches this video. Hopefully, she will watch the video. But it was like she was there for me, and it actually, just find a group of people that will root for you, I guess, that will help you deal with the things that you have not dealt with in a healthy way. And not to say you must offload off people. I guess we just shared, like a mutual kind of energy that we kind of needed each other whenever we needed each other, and it was very mutual. Find those types of people for yourself. And I'm going to read scripture before I continue on. It's found in Proverbs 15, verse 22. It reads, plans go wrong for lack of advice. Plans go wrong for lack of advice. My tongue twisting. Many advisors bring success. So in my translation here, it says, people with tunnel vision, those who are locked into one way of thinking, are likely to miss the right road because they have closed their minds to any new options. We need the help of those who can enlarge our vision and broaden our perspective. Seek out the advice of those who know you and have a wealth of experience. Build a network of advisors, then be open to new ideas and be willing to weigh their suggestions carefully. Your plans will be stronger and more likely to succeed. How perfect is this translation to this verse? Just putting a nail on what I'm actually talking about. So, find advisors. Like, don't act like you know it all, because trust me, no one does. Even the ones that seem like they have it all together, they don't. Like, I feel like the people that actually make it, or maybe become more successful in their academics and just overall, is those that actually seek out the help and don't be afraid to admit that you're struggling. Don't be afraid to admit that you don't have it all together, because trust me, no one does have it all together. And just try to find a structure and resources that will be helpful in whatever that you've decided to do. And mostly, you know, seek God in everything, and He will be your best counselor, because I think that's one of the things that we actually miss out on. And I think also, if you are dealing with a lot, like emotionally, and you don't know how to deal with it, just, go for therapy. And I know that there's a time limit to every, of course, because it's more like an academic kind of therapy, but they're there to listen. Some of the people that are actually offered for therapy, they're actually there to listen to whatever you're going through. So use those resources and offload and get back to it. You'll thank yourself later. So I hope you guys actually will find this video helpful. And I think I'll do a part 2 on how I actually ended up building my self-esteem and actually finding myself. And also just, building a healthy routine. If maybe you have any questions for me or any comments, please feel free to leave them down below for me, and I'll check them out and reply as soon as I can. And I'll leave the verse and scripture that I've read for you guys, and I hope you guys find this video useful. If you do, don't forget to share. It might actually help someone. And don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Bye.